Mrs. Witt here. Let's do a quick review on linear functions. You may or may not remember, and hopefully you do, that y equals mx plus b is the general format of a linear function. That means that when we graph it, it makes a straight line. Now there's some key parts to a linear function that you have to know. This is the standard form here, where the m, do you remember what the m represents? Hopefully you thought, isn't that the slope or the rate of change? All of those are correct. The x here, do you remember what the x is? The x is just the input, where we might put in a number. Do you remember what the b value is? It's the y-intercept, okay? And last but not least, what in the world is the y? Maybe you thought, oh, I think that's the output, right? The x is the input. The y is our output. It makes a coordinate point, doesn't it? So let's do a quick review of just graphing one of these. So if I had something like y equals negative 3x plus 1, take a second and think about it. What's the slope and what's the y-intercept? Hopefully you thought the slope is negative 3, the y-intercept is 1. So let's just graph this. This here, it just means we can turn it into a fraction. Remember, you could put any number over 1, and the slope is the rise over the run. Okay, and the y-intercept is just a positive 1. Remember, it's the starting point. So we always start with plotting the y-intercept. So let's see. If I just sketch a really messy coordinate plane here. The first thing that I would always do is plot the y-intercept. This is my y-axis, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to start at a positive 1, which is right here. And then my rise is negative, okay? So that means when my rise is negative, I'm going to be going down 3. And when I have a positive run, positive is to the right. Okay, so I'm from this point right here, I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. And all you actually need is 2 points to draw a straight line, right? You just connect them, label your equation, and that's that. So if you are asked to identify a key feature from a linear function, you now know your slope is what's in front of the x. Your y-intercept is what's alone at the end. It is possible to have an equation like this. What's the y-intercept of this linear function? Well, there's nothing here, right? So in math, when there's nothing, you have no money, you have no candy, you have no fruit, you have nothing. Well, don't you have 0? So in this particular one, the y-intercept is 0. And if I asked you what's the slope of this function, what would you tell me? You would tell me it's a half, right? Because it's what's in front of x. So there you go, quick summary and review of the parts of a linear function.